As a PM, saying yes to everything makes you busy and working 60, 70-hour weeks without accomplishing much of anything. But saying no the right way makes you effective and allows you to actually achieve and become a top-paid, high-performing PM. But unless you check these 4 boxes that we're going to be talking about today, your no won't land. My name is Alex. I used to be a group PM at Google for 4 years. I interviewed hundreds of candidates. I've reviewed thousands of resumes. Now I work with PMs not just to help them land the next role, but to become an effective product manager on the job and to master the moves to maximize their pay. And one of the hardest moves to master is knowing when and how to say no to your manager. Let's just get right into it. What are the 4 things you need? First, you need a history, a track record of successful execution on your part. The second thing you need is an updated roadmap that you own and keep up to date. The third one is your backlog review cadence, how often you actually groom that backlog. And the final 4th one is how do you think about product development? What are your guiding principles? Let's start from the first one. If you are just starting out on the role, you don't have a track record of delivery. Maybe you've got something you've done for other companies, but assuming that you've just started your relationship with your manager, you're not going to have a strong track record. And therefore, any no of yours will not land. Now, if you've built up a reputation and you've managed to deliver for the company, for the team, for your manager, over time, you're going to build up that credibility that you're going to be able to cash in order to make recommendations and push back. This is one of those binary ones. You either have it or you don't. So if you don't have it, just know that this is an important component, and please work to make sure you can deliver for your manager. You can build up that asset by delivering results for your team, product, and manager every month, every quarter, and you can bank those, you can stack those up, and you can use those when you steer the conversation and the product direction where you want to go. We'll talk a little bit more about what to do if you don't have this one or any one of the other ones, but for now, let's move on to number 2, which is roadmap ownership. Roadmap ownership of your product area or product line just means that you know what the product goals are, the company goals are, and how your work and your projects and initiatives actually line up to reaching those goals and objectives. You've got your roadmap drawn up. You actually update your roadmap. Other parties or orgs or team members are bought in your roadmap. Your manager knows about this roadmap. You keep this thing up to date. It's one of the core things that a product manager does is say, what are we doing? The more your manager can feel at ease knowing that you own your roadmap and you keep it up to date and you know where you're going and why, the more they can relax and trust your judgment. Number 3, your backlog review cadence. This is how much of a black hole is your product organization. If your manager or your exec or your team or your customer give you ideas or questions or comments or feedback, does that go to a black hole, never to be seen again? Does your manager feel like they have to constantly ping you about this thing that they asked you? Hey, what about this thing? Can we start doing this project, or can we change this initiative? If your manager feels like they have to stay organized and keep track of what they asked you to do, instead of you tracking all of the things that you could be reviewing and doing for your product, then they're not going to trust you and they're not going to accept your pushback against this latest initiative. What does this mean? You have to have a cadence. Hey, every month or every 2 months or every quarter at least, we will review the entirety of customer feedback, team feedback, everything that is in our ideas or minds or in our world, in our orbit, is going to be reviewed at some point. And yes, we can make arbitrary cut. You can say, hey, we have 400 things on the list. We're actually only going to be reviewing the top 100. Any backlog process is better than no backlog process. Most product organizations don't have this. All right, so that's the third one. Number 4 is guiding principles. How do you even think about product development, specifically in your org, in your manager's team? What are your principles for building your product? What are your principles for making decisions? Speed of execution? Are you prioritizing future revenue or short-term revenue, or the quality of the experience or of the product versus the revenue or the growth component? You need to spell these things out. What do you and your team stand for? Those are important principles that you should write out and have your manager and your team understand. So if you have those principles in place, it's going to be much easier for you to say, manager, actually, this doesn't fit into our principles. If you want, we can rethink about our principles, but this is how the team has decided to proceed in line with the goals that the company has and the initiatives that we're trying to invest in. Let's put all of this together. If you can check 3 of 4 of these boxes, you're in good shape to actually push back on your manager and say no right away, and don't get sidetracked by a random new idea or request, no matter where it came from. And the way that you push back is you state these things. hey, manager, this is a great idea. We can review it during the next review cycle. I don't want to interrupt anything midstream because we got our roadmap pretty well set up already. And here are the goals that we're going for. And here's how everything lines up. And as you remember, I've delivered successfully this project last quarter and the quarter before, so I feel confident about our current roadmap. Nonetheless, I'm very excited about reviewing this for our next backlog review in 6 to 8 weeks. So you see how if you've got all 3 or 4 of them, you're in great shape to push back. And if anything, your manager is going to think more highly of you than they did before they made the request. But if you don't have these boxes checked, any pushback you do will be weak. Now, what to do if you have less than 3 of these, but you have a few of these? If you have none of these, please don't say no. Instead, say yes, and then go about fixing and checking these boxes. But if you have 2 of these checked, then you can say, let's go ahead and evaluate this idea further. So you can substantiate your position. If you've got 2 of 4 of these buckets, you've got enough groundwork, you've got enough of a foundation to stand on to actually say, I don't think we should do it, but you've got to defend it a little bit more. But if you have less than 3 of these, you may want to concentrate on really developing these things, developing the reputation, building a roadmap and refining it, creating a backlog review cycle and making sure everyone is brought in on this, and then finally, developing your own set of guiding principles of how you do product work. Hopefully this makes sense. If you have any questions about this, please let me know in the comments. I will answer any question and we'll make follow-up videos in order to help you. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you next time.